Good evening, everyone. Hi. Welcome to Willingness Wednesday. I am your coach, BVon Squires, and today we are sponsored by Spirit Source Connection. Thank you so much for meeting me here. If you're new, I want to say welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you hear something tonight that will engage you and make you want to come back and meet with me again next week. Here on this channel, we talk about things that you're not going to necessarily hear in class. You're not going to hear this in average dinner conversation. You're going to need to come here to find out all this wonderful information about how you too can become a highly effective individual. I love it. I just love coming here every Wednesday, bringing you all information, not only from my own personal experiences, but from books that I read and information that I find along the way that has helped me, right? Okay, if you are returning, I want to tell you thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. I couldn't do this without your love and support. Okay, so before we get started, I'm going to give us a recap so everyone knows what's going on here tonight. So we're all on the same page. So last week, I embarked on a new series called Emotional Intelligence. Ooh, what's that, coach? Okay, so we learned about emotional intelligence last week, and we were talking about the first component of emotional intelligence is self-awareness. See, we have a range of feelings that we could possibly feel throughout the day. So many situations and circumstances evoke so many feelings and emotions within us, right? So where do they come from and how the heck do we manage them? Well, let me tell you. Okay, so when you are able to identify the mood you're in, not only identify it, but also think about how that mood is affecting you and how it's affecting others around you, then that is what emotional intelligence is. Being aware of your emotions without judging them and without having to react on them gives you the advantage because then you're able to see things from an objective standpoint. What I talked about last week was the neocortex. The neocortex is the left side of the brain that has to do with language. It allows you to identify and name your emotions. While conversely, on the other side, the right side is the amygdala. Woo! That amygdala, let me tell you, the amygdala is responsible for the fight or flight responses that we have been conditioned to respond to since the early times, right? Years and years and years ago, we had to rely on the amygdala to put us in a position to run if we were running from a lion. Well, as we evolved over the years, now the fear isn't necessarily a fear that I'm going to die, a fear that I'm going to be eaten by a lion. Now the fear that we run from is I'm not going to be accepted. They're going to talk about me. I'm going to be judged. I'm going to look like a fool. And those are the kinds of emotions, charged emotions that activate the amygdala. That is nowhere that you want to be. Trust me, because it causes stress, not only in your mind and your organs, right? But it also causes you to lose touch with who you are and what feelings and emotions you have available to you. You become inside this little loop, if you will, a loop until at some point the neocortex is able to be activated. You're at the mercy of your emotions. We talked about that again last week. So what I want you to know today is that we are moving into the second component of emotional intelligence, which is managing your emotions. So I want to tell you, no quick fix. No quick fixes here. You have to do the work in order to manage your emotions. Now, I don't know about you, but growing up, my earlier childhood, I suffered with emotional dysregulation. I didn't know that at the time. Of course, who knew that? They just thought something's wrong with her. Why can't she be like the rest of us? You know, I can laugh at it now, but it was a very painful experience knowing that something was wrong, but not knowing what was wrong. Knowing that I saw things from a different lens than other people, I began to think that there was something wrong with me, and so it affected my self-esteem, it affected my self-worth. And I kept trying to be like others with no success because of the emotional dysregulation. So fast forward over the years, I decided, you know what? I want to take charge of my life. I want to have healthy relationships. I want to be able to give and receive love like everyone else. And so along the way, I learned about the emotional dysregulation. And then I just threw myself into finding information and knowledge and going through therapy and things like that to help me deal with my emotional dysregulation. And so when I speak to you about this topic specifically, managing your emotions, it's so near and dear to my heart. It is so near and dear to my heart because before I knew how to manage my emotions, I was at the mercy of them. I would wake up on the wrong side of the bed, and that's where I would be until at some point I was no longer on the wrong side of the bed. At some point my mood changed, something triggered, and I was able to be released from the amygdala, and I was able to then feel my emotions, right? And so I started practicing. I started just really throwing myself into the work that is necessary. Now, I want to tell you, this is not work that the average person is even willing to do. There's only 3% of people, those are highly effective individuals, who are even willing to give this type of conversation or this type of component, right, a second thought. Oh, emotions, who needs them? Compartmentalize them, which is another way of stuffing them, right? We talked about this last week about when you stuff your emotions, it has a way of presenting itself as physical pain. Who knew that? That was something else that I learned along the way, right? So what I want to help you to understand is that your thoughts, right, create your emotions. So just follow me here, okay? Because if you don't get anything else from this, I want you to know that you can manage your emotions and that I can help you learn how to do that, okay? I'm your coach, for goodness sakes. Of course I can help you. Okay, so your thoughts, okay? Your thoughts are based on your belief system, right? Your belief system causes a perception in your mind. And so when you are triggered by some stimulus, either inside yourself, right, from your own internal system or outside of yourself, you're triggered with a thought. That thought is connected to a feeling. That feeling, right, is then produced the emotions. So there is a book that I'm reading, and it's called How to Manage Your Emotions. It's by Thibaut Maurice. I love his name. So Mr. Maurice says that there is a formula. There is a formula to understanding how emotions become ingrained as a part of our core feelings, our core emotions. These are emotions that we've set up inside of ourselves that are go-to emotions. When we see a situation arising that reminds us of something that happened in the past, it's a go-to emotion that always kicks in without our permission. It's programmed in us based on the fact that we have repeatedly thought the same way, felt the same way, responded the same way with the same emotion. And so eventually it becomes ingrained in us through repetition, right? I'm going to give you a little analogy here. You guys know I love my analogies. And so I'm going to try to help you understand exactly what this is all about. So there is an event. There's an event that happens. Ooh, I know. Something happened today. I'm going to tell you about my event that happened today. All right, so this morning, okay, someone sent me an email about a subcommittee that I chair. And they wanted me to approve something for them, but someone 2 weeks ago asked me to approve the same thing for the same meeting. I told them yes 2 weeks ago. I told her yes also today. But this is something that only one person can be approved for. OMG. I sent out the email approving her, but someone else had already been approved for the same thing. So someone emailed me and said, hey, I want to make you aware. I was like, oh my God, what do we do now? And so there you go. There is an event, right? The event is I have fallen short. I have approved 2 people for the same exact thing. What am I going to do? Hiding under my desk is not an option. No. Just quit your job. No. That's outlandish. That's not going to happen. Oh, I know. How about take responsibility? Ooh. So I had a choice in that moment, right? In that moment, I could have decided, oh, I fell short again. Oh my God. So that right there is me identifying with the problem and not the solution. But what I was able to do is say, okay, take responsibility. That immediately threw me into being proactive, right? That is habit number 1 of Stephen Covey's 7 habits of highly effective people, is to be proactive. So now I am forcing my energy into the solution instead of having my energy into the problem. So once I was able to force my energy into the solution and be proactive, then I was able to find my way to habit 2, which is begin with the end in mind. Okay, Benita, what is the ideal solution here? How do you want this to end? I want this to end with the person that I initially approved having what I approved, and the second person understanding that I fell short and approved them and I should not have. So the first thing I had to do was apologize, right? Apologize for the oversight. So now I'm in habit number 3, which is putting first things first, right? So I was able to be proactive, take responsibility for the situation, put my energy into the solution, email the person, fix the snafu. There's no snafus, right? And then move into first things first. There you go. I was able to work my way through that situation without giving my energy to the autoplay that sometimes goes in the back of our minds, right? So the event triggered a response in me. The first one was run, oh my God. But of course, it's just a thought. The action that I did is what determines whether I'm in the problem or whether I'm in the solution. And the fact that I was able to email and get that all rectified showed me walking through habit 1, 2, and 3, right? So the thing about it is, I want you to know that you can manage your emotions so that you can have a healthier self-esteem, so that you can have a better relationship with yourself, with your peers, with your family members, with the community, with your church, with everyone, when we can manage our emotions. Being able to manage your emotions and give the right percentage to the situation is where you want to be. At that point, you have achieved metacognition, right? Okay, so what happens with these emotions is, all right, so what happens with the emotions is the event triggers an interpretation, right? The interpretation could have been, oh, Benita, there you go again, falling short. It triggered an interpretation that could have taken me down the wrong path if I was not aware of my emotions, if I was not aware of the trap that my amygdala was trying to set me up, right? If I go down this road of self-pity, self-loathing, insecurity, what else is down there? Defensiveness, all of those low vibrational energies could have taken me down. And I know this because they've done it on many occasions in the past. But now that I can manage my emotions and I can respond appropriately, right? I have trained my mind in my private time to strengthen the neocortex so that I can identify my moods, identify my emotions, and decide right then and there, do you want to be part of the problem or do you want to be part of the solution, right? I've been part of the problem too many times and I know where it ends. It ends in a vicious loop. A vicious loop of emotions, negative emotions, and oh my God, then it could lead to depression. So I don't want to go down that path. I've been down that path. I've been down that path for you. So you can stop going down that path too, okay? Between the two of us, I know that we have been down that path too many times. And so that's why this is so important. I want to help you understand how to stop building those negative emotional traps for yourself, right? You have to be able to tell yourself the painful truth. This is what I had to do. I had to tell myself the painful truth. Guess what, Benita? You can no longer blame people, places, or things for the way that you feel. Because guess what? You create your feelings and emotions. You create them. So you can no longer blame anyone else for your mood. Nobody made you feel a certain kind of way. You chose to feel that certain kind of way based on the perception you have of the event that happened, right? So if you take the moment, right, to look at that event from an objective standpoint, which is total management of your emotions, right? If you can look at that event from an objective standpoint, then you're able to see no one did anything to you. So a lot of times we think people do things to us because in our minds we believe that they're supposed to respond a particular way to us, right? The other painful truth is that the world does not revolve around me. It doesn't revolve around you either. I know, baby. I'm so sorry to tell you that. What do you mean, coach? Yes. You know, we have to be able to tell ourselves the painful truths so that we don't set ourselves up for an emotional trap later on in life, right? So what I want you to understand here is that if you take the formula, listen, the formula is the event, right, in parentheses, because that has to happen first. So you have the event in parentheses, right? The event plus interpretation, the way I see the event, right? Then identification, the way I feel about the event, right? Based on how I interpreted it, right? And then repetition. See, so what happens is someone hurt me. I feel disrespected. So that's me interpreting it. Someone did something to me. Now I have identified with it, right? The event in a negative way, right? And now I'm repeating the scenario over and over and over and over again in my mind, seeing the event. Seeing the event, interpreting the event from my own belief system, which sometimes can be faulty. Listen, people, I want you to know that your belief system, right, is so critical to the quality of life that you can have for yourself. The belief system that we have has to evolve with us as we continue to grow, as we continue to take in more information, we get more knowledge, then our belief system has to line up with that so that we can make sure that we are living according to our most authentic version of ourselves, see? So if my belief system is version 1.0, but my authenticity level, right, is something different, then I need to update my belief system so that it is compatible with the authenticity that I want to live today, right? And so I want to help you to understand If by some chance you do not understand all of this, which I know it's probably new for most of you, and that's okay. It was new for me at some point too, but I'm here to help you. I am your coach, and you can call me at 317-721-4315, or you can email me at b.von@gmail.com. And together we can take a look at your belief system. We can take a look at how you interpret events. We can take a look at how you identify with that event and those things that you continue to tell yourself over and over and over again, creating these emotions that become part of the core emotions that you have to operate from. We want to make sure that you are operating from the best belief system that is possible, the most authentic belief system that allows you to live the day, or to live the life that you have dreamed of, right? The life that you want. You can enhance the quality of your life through managing your emotions. And I am here to help you do that. So I hope today something has been said that will help you understand that if you remove one of those pieces of that formula, right? The event you can't change. The event, you can't change anything about the event. It is what it is, and it's not going to change. But what you can change is the way that you perceive the event, right? You can perceive it from a positive standpoint as opposed to a negative standpoint. Because, see, things don't happen to us, they happen for us. They happen for us so that we can see areas in our lives that we may need to develop more in. We can see areas in our life that, no thanks, don't want any more of that. So we can see areas where we would like to just do away with negative thought processes altogether. And I'm here to tell you that it is possible. I'm here to show you what's possible. If you are willing to do the work in your private time, if you are willing to sit with yourself for 5 minutes, I know that's asking a lot, coach. 5 minutes? Yes, if you could give yourself 5 minutes of time to jot down an event that happened today. I know you had one. We all have them all day long. There's so many opportunities for us to manage our emotions. And so what I'd like for you to do as a little exercise is take a piece of paper and write down an event that happened to you today. I want you to look at the way you perceived that event. Is that a good way? Is that what I'm trying to say? Is your perception of the event, is it positive or is it negative? Do you feel someone did something to you, or can you see the opportunity for growth in that event? I want you to take a look at what you're telling yourself, how you are identifying with that event. And then I want you to see if you are playing it back and forth over and over in your mind. How many times did you reenact that event today? I want you to take a look at that, because that's how our emotions are created. And that's how we develop the core emotions that we have available to us. And so when I'm able to look at things from a healthy perspective, then I'm able to interpret it in a positive way, which leads to positive identification of that situation, which then leads me to repeat it. And now I have a healthy, positive emotion that I'm adding to my core of emotions, right? I can look at that and say, guess what? You fell short. But guess what? You rectified the situation. End of the story. Move on. No need for me to identify with that situation in a negative way. No reason for me to be beating myself up. Because, see, I am a recovering perfectionist. And I tell you what, there's no reason for you to beat yourself up or to say negative things about yourself to yourself when you fall short. It happens. It happens to all of us. But I tell you what, if you can identify and interpret something different than you used to, then you're going to get new results. And that's what it's all about. Learning how to create the lives that we want to live. Learning how to continue to develop those parts of us that we thought we could not manage. Oh my God, I thought for sure I would be slave to my emotions my whole life. But I'm so glad to find out that that is just not true. No, it's not. All right, guys, that's it for me today. I hope that I've said something to help you understand your emotions a little bit more. And so next week, when we come back, we're going to talk about the third component of emotional intelligence. Okay. And I hope to see you again next week, right here on Willingness Wednesday. And have a great rest of the week. I'm going to pray and ask God to bless you real good. And then I'll see you next week when you come back. Okay. All right. Thanks so much. Love you. Bye.